I will give them rest, bring back the strays, and heal the sick. However, God did not have kind words for what he called the strong and the sleek. Think about the economic struggles we're facing right now. I've been hearing more and more about people losing their jobs, having difficulties finding work with adequate benefits, or having difficulties paying their rent or mortgage. On the one hand, you have the strong and the sleek. They may want to enforce the terms of the mortgage or the rent agreement that could place undue burdens on the family. The family may have to decide between food and paying for rent. The family may have to lose their home and move into the relative's home, putting a burden on everyone. On the other hand, the landlord or mortgage company could put aside economics for once to enforce the law on their heart. They could hold the rent steady for a while. One of our parishioners right here told me that he held the rent steady when cost was increasing for him. It was more important to him that the family found some comfort in maintaining their residence in hard economic times. His actions could save a marriage. It could save a family. Families in hard times sometimes cannot handle the pressures and they end up in divorce, or children act out and find themselves in trouble with the law. But the landlord is satisfied that he could help God shepherd the sheep who found themselves scattered when it was cloudy and dark. The landlord could afford one less vacation in the sun if the family could enjoy a ray of sunshine in their lives. The beautiful thing about Christians who give to others through God's law, the law of the heart, is that they do so without expectation of return. They generally don't even want a pat on the back. It's just the right thing to do. That is the way Jesus wants us to give. We give to others because it becomes second nature. We don't think we get to heaven by tallying up the good deeds throughout our life. We get to heaven by changing our heart. What a beautiful image of salvation. Changing your heart means that you give from the heart, not from the wallet. You don't get to heaven by tallying up good deeds. You get to heaven by changing your heart. There's an interesting contrast in the gospel reading today. You have two groups who are totally surprised about the judgment from Jesus. The first group is offered inheritance in the kingdom of God because they gave Jesus food, drink, welcome, clothes, care, and visits in prison. They are totally surprised because they asked Jesus, well, when did we see you hungry or feed you and you were thirsty and give you drink? They just thought they were helping their neighbor, just doing the right thing. They weren't concerned about tallying up points for heaven. They had a change of heart. The other group was equally surprised. This group was being dispatched to hell because they did not give Jesus food, drink, welcome, clothes, care, or visits. In their confusion, they asked Jesus, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or naked or ill in prison and not minister to your needs? And of course we know what Jesus said to them. Amen, I say to you, what you did not do for one of my least ones, you did not do for me. The second group did not know that God was watching when they bypassed their neighbors in need. If they thought God was watching, they would have made more of an effort to help. You don't get to heaven by tallying up good deeds. You get to heaven by changing your heart. You give even when no one is watching. You help even when you cannot be repaid. You do what Jesus taught us. You ask the recipient to pay it forward. To To pay it forward means that I won't necessarily repay you for the good deed, but I will do a good deed for someone in my future who needs help. Jesus wants us to pay it forward. God has given us everything. Jesus has given us salvation through his sacrifices. Jesus doesn't want us to pay him back. That would be impossible. Jesus wants us to pay it forward to our neighbor who is hungry, sick, lonely, or thirsty. Benjamin Franklin coined the concept of paying it forward in 1784, but Jesus has been teaching us the same concept for 2,000 years. Jesus went about his ministry by giving to the less fortunate, those on the fringes of his society. Jesus revealed the loving care and tender mercy of God for this world's least ones. Even though Jesus' followers and others oppressed by those in power at the time wanted to make Jesus a king, Jesus didn't want to be a king as they envisioned. He just wanted them to pay it forward to future generations of oppressed people. But you know Jesus is king. Today we celebrate Christ the King. Jesus is king in the style and form he defined. Jesus defined king for us to follow. The king is the servant.